Hey everyone, how's it going? This is M.L.S. And this is the 2021 M.L.S. book cover of the month, week 2 episode. And we have a special guest, my middle son.
Hello.
And so he's gonna sit with me while I look at book covers and talk about what I see. And really, all I'm doing is looking for 7 covers I think stand out for one reason or another. And then I'm going to talk about what I think makes them work and what maybe I think isn't so great. If you like this video, please remember to give it a like, subscribe, and click the notification bell. And if you are very, very anxious to support an independent self-published author, maybe go to my Amazon page in the link below and check out some of my books and see if you're interested in that. For now, though, let's look at great book covers. So all I typically do, it's not what I did last week, but there were some learning curves from last week. This week, we're moving much more smoothly. And so what I'm doing is I'm just scrolling down. I'm a science fiction fantasy fan. And so I'm looking at book covers that I think stand out to me. Now, some of these are pretty familiar. And why I'm starting here is I'm looking at the new releases because that's where you're going to find a lot of the new stuff. All right, so this is an audiobook cover, but it counts. This is The Lost Apothecary, and this guy comes up. I just opened it in a new window just to bring it up for the voting that I do, which you'll be able to do in the link below. This book cover here is just first off, it's beautiful color. You see how the colors kind of wrap all the way around it? And then it's got nice, beautiful line art around it. I mentioned last week in a video I did that line art is like a lost art. Everyone loves like clever designs and really well rendered 3-dimensional looking subjects, and that's cool. But you know the ability to have a simple line art design that matches the theme in the title text is kind of a lost thing. And so I wanted to give credit for the color because the color is beautiful and this clever line art design, and then the way the title text is placed. It's there in the middle, but it's okay because we got this bottle that's dragging our eye to it, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you like about this?
I say it's very vibrant.
Okay.
The fact that the background is colorized, I think, in my opinion, it makes it pop.
Yeah, the color really drags the eye. Color is very, very powerful design tool. So we're going to keep on scrolling down. We got 6 more to find. We're going to find 6 more good covers. And that can get pretty tough because not all covers are created equal. There are things I like about that, but there are things I'm not such a fan about. Let's keep looking. And you know what? Sometimes you're going to have to go through a couple pages. I've already talked about that one last week. You can look at that in the other video. You know what? Let's take this one caught my eye, so let's take a look at it. All right, I'm gonna glance at it real quick. So when you're doing a book cover, especially when you're moving and you're doing your work, you don't have a whole lot of room. What you're trying to do is grab the viewer's eye. And so anything that does that to me is successful. Now, what I have to do is I have to look at this and find out why it grabbed my eye. It's not a true silhouette because this isn't just a completely black figure. I think it's a very energetic image. It's a giant war scene going on, and this bright color in the back is probably what drew my eye in that direction. So all this brightness kind of drew me to this figure, and then I'm looking at this guy wielding this real wicked looking weapon, whatever it is. And it's a nice dynamic action scene. You got your title text up and above. But this is a great example of how brightness can really drag the eye and capture it. But it doesn't, you can't just have like a white cover or a black cover or things of that sort. What you really need is when you draw the eye, you need something to look at. And this real dynamic figure, doing a really cool action pose does a good job. What do you think?
Yeah.
He says, yeah. There we go.
It just does.
You're a great side commentary. And right off the bat, that's not I'm being serious.
Okay.
That brings me to this one. I saw this and I just loved it. So this is a concept called figure ground. What happens is when you have two tones, two different colors. I know there's three, but and you use those overlapping to create a whole. It's not the truest form of figure ground where it looks kind of like a Rorschach, but it plays on those same theories. We got silhouette, we got contrast. We got contrast from red to black. And a lot of times when people think contrast, they think black and white. And as long as you have enough contrast between the two, you're still going to be successful. So you got red and black, you got the title text. I'm a huge fan of it, so the name is going to sell stuff. But what I really love is this black background with this black line art and this perfect white silhouette centered perfectly in this whole thing. So I talked about this. I talk about this sometimes. This is nice balance. It's a little broken. Some may call this asymmetrical balance. I don't know that I go that far, but this isn't perfect matching, but it's just enough to draw the eye and keep it. And having that figure right there, this creates another element we call framing. Framing is when there's something in the environment that creates a frame for the subject in the environment.
Ooh.
So that's what's going on here. This guy's being framed by this twisty shape. I'm pretty sure that's drawn. But it's just great color. I love silhouettes, good balance. It uses the concept of centering very well. It also has some scale in it because whatever this is huge. That's a person. So this is some sort of environment, scene, base, location, and it's huge. So I really appreciate that. And I'm a big fan of Star Wars, and so the title kind of sells for itself. How many do we have here, Josh? How many do we have here? One, two. This will be our third. Yeah, this will be our third. I don't. Yep, I did. So we got three. That means we got to find four more. 4 plus 3 is 7, right? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. There are other things that just aren't, the most interesting concepts. I might talk about it with other things, but not just close. See, this is too much brightness. I talked about the other one where brightness can catch the eye, but brightness can also push the eye away. I'm not saying that this is a bad book or anything, but the cover actually I don't want to look at it because it's too bright, not because it's like hideous design or anything like that. It's just so bright, it's hard to see. All right. Let's keep looking about what's going on here.
Because that cover was a little too bold.
A little too bold. I think you were correct. Let's go with some. I'm not the biggest fan of those guys. Title-based texts are okay, but we need a little bit more than that. All right. Some of these may be standing out to you or even to you, but they might be in one of my other videos. So you can't, you got to give it a little more wiggle room. All right, so that's it for that particular area. But if I just go here to books, and then I go here, and then I go sort by publication date, I'm still going to get some good looking done. I try to go to the top 100 first because they got to stand out for some reason. They had to have done something successful. All right. Let's see what they got. What's out here in the world? Nora Roberts is a very successful author. I got to give this more credit than I want. Uh, uh, this isn't like a bad cover. I've seen that style done a whole lot. So it doesn't hold up with me, but this one jumped right out at me. Let's call this one number 4. We Could Be Heroes by Mike Chen. This does a couple different things that I really appreciate. First, it's title based, and there aren't a lot of book covers out there that rely on the title, and it's not the worst thing in the world, but it, if you let your title be a part of your design, you're really taking it another level up, because then they're not just words on a design, but the words themselves are a part of that design, and it's a very underdone tool. And then we have it's an informal balance, because we have this weird shape on the other side. It's one side is a reflection of the other side, but there's still enough unity to hold the eye. And then you have this little figure centered in the middle of it. But again, I've done a lot of images now where I've looked at a lot of covers where there's a silhouetted figure in the middle. A lot of book covers, they just go in these trends that loop and repeat, which is why it's hard to stand out. But then something different comes along, and then people copy that and work through it and do it again. And so there's some bias that gets into it, but I do appreciate looking at this nice color. What do you think of the range from this blue to this, what is that, yellow?
Yeah, it's a yellowish hue. I think the tint is very nice. The color contrast with the blue to yellow with a little bit of green in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that really catches my eye in that way. I would want to read that, in my own opinion.
Okay.
It
Well,
looks somewhat entertaining, especially with the silhouettes actually interacting in a way with the words.
yeah, those are two people. Like maybe they're flying away. I don't really know what's going on here, but I like the cityscape. I'm interested to know what those figures are doing, and I like heroes. So I'd at least open it up and look at that first page. All right. We talked about portrait-based covers just last week, but you're going to see a lot of those. That's a very standard operating procedure for what's going on. We're gonna eventually land on a James Corey book that I like, but it's not set now. This is cool. The Burning God.
Now that's an interesting name.
Yeah. What I like about it is, again, this is line art. This is just pencils and inks creating a whole. This clean background. I just love the detail in the uh, outfit and in the sword, and this weird vague, it looks like a spinal cord right here, these little splashes that give a sense of ground to the subject. I back when I used to do this on my blog, I really liked I really liked having one of the other images. So I'm just a huge fan of this cover artist, the concept of what's going on here. I think this is a very nice, uh, um, stylized cover. Now, it is very, very stylized. When you see this, you're going to recognize it with the other covers, but it works because when you're in a series, you actually want that continuity. What are we up to here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 covers.
Yeah.
So, oh no, don't do that.
Oh.
I mean, I like the cover, but I'm not going to click on the link. I mean, we did click on the link. That's kind of how this works. So we need to find 2 more covers. Stop messing with me. It's like, you want a James S.A. Corey book. Probably. I think a lot of us, for me, these covers are very hit and miss. Sometimes they're just really cool, epic science fiction, spaceship battle things. And sometimes it's just a whole lot of brightness. That is not my favorite thing. You know what? I like this guy here. Landscape covers are big, especially in fantasy. You see landscape covers a lot in fantasy. But in this one, this is a cover from an older story, but this cover is for Adrian Tchaikovsky.
Ooh.
Yep, he's a very famous writer. That's more for my boy than you guys. But I just love this tower. It's got a very Two Towers feel. And honestly, what I wanted to talk about is look at this font. This is just a really cool, unique, original looking font. It's quirky without being hard to look at. It's unique without being overly weird. Those are some wonderful traits in a font. Believe it or not, designers can sit down and just have conversations all day. They'll like sit over a cup of coffee and be like, "What do you think of that Times New Roman there, Jim?" And Jim will be like, "Well, Times New Roman was good for its time." See what I did there?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the come on, guys, give me credit. It's my son. So the idea though is nice, well rendered landscape, good use of light, and then a font that's unique without being like laughable. So I'm a little mad. I can't have two Thrawn covers in one book competition, but it's the same concept. So this is awesome. It is epic, and I might like it better than the other one if I'm just being honest. But I'm not. I'm not going to have two Thrawn books in one competition, um, let alone in one month. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, where did lost them? That 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's look at this guy here.
Ladies of the Secret
Yeah,
Circus.
why do you think I like this image?
Because of the depth in the background.
The depth in the background. What do you mean by depth in the background?
Well, you can see the clouds, and it seems to be based in the sky in a way, but it has the Eiffel Tower,
Okay.
which it looks like the Eiffel Tower. But
Mhm.
the reason why I think it has a sense or like a depth in the background is because of the clouds.
Right.
As you can tell, it goes gradually, they get gradually smaller and smaller. And you can, if you look hard enough, you can see the landscape.
You know what that's called? It's called scale.
Mm.
So when things are big, they appear close. Now, this artist is being even more clever because people are going to recognize this. So, the Eiffel Tower is actually big, right?
Yeah.
So when you see the Eiffel Tower small, you're going to think it's far away. And then when you see the clouds farther away and then the moon is smaller, you gain a sense of depth. It makes a two-dimensional image appear three-dimensional because of the size, and layering is the other aspect. You got one thing in front of another thing in front of another thing. That layering creates a sense of depth too. Like if my hand's here, my hand's in front of me and you recognize it because it's blocking a portion of me, whereas this figure is blocking a portion of the moon. That creates dimension when you don't actually have three dimensions to work with. And that's a very clever concept. I like the figure dancing. I like the energy in this cover, and that energy is accented by these little this
Doodles?
little bit of line art, these little doodles, these elegant lines that hold the eye and center it. The other thing that's really clever again is I'm not sure that they did. So you see how some of the text is in front and some of the text is behind.
That's
That again,
clever.
yep, that's layering. That's creating how things appear and giving a sense of three dimensionality when you only have two to work with.
Yeah.
I mentioned using bright colors. When you have a color that's sampled from the cover and the title of the author, Constance Sayers, is smaller, it actually helps with the unity without being overly distracting. I wouldn't like this so much if it were ginormous. I think that these lines are clever. They're a little too much, a little too detailed. I might have toned it down myself, just because there's already a lot going on in this cover. Somewhere we're like, oh, that cover's a little busy to me. I wouldn't really argue with them.
Yeah.
But I just love the energy of the figure. I wish there was a little bit more light, but she's backlit by the moon, so it
There's not much to argue about.
There's good understanding about how the light works. So those are my 7 covers. Let's make sure we have 7. Count with me here. 1,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7. I do indeed have 7 covers, and that means we've done it. We found a new set of covers to vote on for the next week. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please do me a favor, head on down and vote for your favorite out of the 7 covers that we picked and we talked about. If you saw another one that you like, maybe let me know in the comments, or if you have thoughts or questions, throw those down in the comments below. And I want to thank my middle son for jumping down and hanging out with his dad for a little bit.
Yeah.
And if you want to be a part of these videos on Zoom, email me through my blog and send me your name, your email, and your Zoom user profile so that I know who you are, so that I don't get any unexpected surprises while we're in Zoom talking. But we'd love to have you so that you can contribute your thoughts and we can just increase the amount of discussion that's happening. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.